A 30-second advertisement promoting Trump accounts aired during the Super Bowl pregame broadcast. To talk about the Trump accounts, we're joined by Daniel Lacalle, chief economist at Tressis Hedge Fund, international financial analyst, and author of the book Freedom or Equality. Daniel, good afternoon. So about these Trump accounts, children born between 2025 and 2028 are eligible to receive a $1,000 seed contribution from the Treasury. And these accounts are intended to help families save for long-term financial goals, right? But the actual value realized depends on contributions and performance of the investment. So talk to us about what do you think are the benefits here of these Trump accounts?
I think it's a great idea. Thank you, Don, because one of the biggest challenges right now in the public discourse and in the political debate is this widespread perception that people are getting rich in the stock market and the Main Street is not seeing anything of it. And I think that it is a great way of encouraging citizens to save, to invest, to check their portfolios, to see that they're doing better. And I think it's also something that has worked wonderfully in countries, for example, like Chile, in which the day-to-day realization that with some investment and some saving, you can get much better results than hoping that the government or the state provides some sort of support is very, very powerful in terms of the perception about how wealth is generated, how wealth is created. Instead of all this propaganda that we read every day in social media saying that the problem of the United States is billionaires, what you can see is actually that you can benefit significantly from the stock price performance of those companies that are generating at the same time wealth and jobs. So I think it's a great idea, and it worked beautifully in many countries, particularly in Chile, that I remember.
So I do wanted to talk to you about the returns here, but I brought a clip here with me of part of the ad that was played during the Super Bowl, and if you wouldn't mind, just take a look at it.
This year, every American child gets an investment account.
And millions will be pre-funded.
That's free money.
We can all experience the American dream. Sign me up.
So this $1,000, how much could it grow by the time a child, let's say, is around college age, considering historical stock market returns?
Oh, gosh, think about it. How many times have you read that if you had invested $1,000 in the IPO of NVIDIA or the IPO of Amazon, you would be a millionaire today? Well, obviously, if you look at the compounded returns of the S&P 500, you can check that the returns of those $1,000 would pay for college to many of these children. I mean, we need to think about the exceptional thing that is compounded interest and how reinvestment of dividends, how the stock price performance ends up generating a lot more wealth than what citizens would achieve by simply waiting to see if the government gives them something, if the government does. No? I think it's a clear indication that citizens can reach for a better environment in which they can pay for college, in which they can pay for their projects, for start making their own business, whatever that is required. But also very important is that it creates independent citizens that are able to think for themselves instead of being awashed by propaganda that says that corporations are evil and things like that.
So, Daniel, I want to address a point I think you might have alluded to in your first response in this conversation. So today I saw an interesting article about the Trump accounts where the author argues that this program can help counter rising support for socialism because it can teach young people the benefits of capitalism through ownership, building personal wealth, and investment. What do you think about that?
I think it's actually quite right. A lot of the socialist propaganda that is spread in colleges and schools and in the media these days tends to focus on two things: envy and hatred, no? Which is basically the same thing. Envy of those that have done well, envy, and also the belief that the reason why people may be suffering or may be having a tougher environment in terms of their day-to-day cost of living is because of people that have done well, this sort of zero-sum game of the economy. What investing and being financially independent gives to citizens is the tools to understand that capitalism is the way to reduce poverty and to improve wealth, and that what is certainly the road to serfdom is to believe that it's going to be the state that provides. Obviously, we all believe in a state that gives a certain number of public services for the people that are more disadvantaged, but I think that what is absolutely essential right now is that people stop believing in this fallacy of a zero-sum game economy. And they start to understand that what is driving wealth and what is driving improvement in the economy are precisely those companies that are thriving in the stock market and doing a very good job for all of those that have invested in them.
So a couple more things here, Daniel. Would you characterize this program as pro-family? And how does this compare to previous administrations where the government just gives you money to spend, cash?
Yeah, it's much better. It's much better to give money to people so that they invest and they see the fruits of that investment. They get excited. They understand that they're getting richer and that they're getting better and that they can achieve to purchase the things that they require in the future, that they can, that by investing properly and wisely, they can buy themselves a home, they can fund tuition, college tuition, all these things. I think that this is much better than giving people a check to spend, and it's much better for the economy long term. Furthermore, this is not just pro-family, it is pro-independent citizens that have the ability to manage their own life, and they have the ability to understand how to become more successful by investing instead of demonizing the stock market.
And just finally, Daniel, could you address criticisms here that Trump accounts could widen wealth gaps?
I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. It's the opposite, no? It's the opposite. Everybody that is talking about this massive wealth gap is using a very stupid fallacy, to be fairly honest, which is the fallacy of paper wealth, which is to account for the wealth of the billionaires of America as if it was fully fungible and in cash when it is invested in the stock market. So if those people say that that these millionaires and billionaires have made their fortune by seeing their stocks soar, what this does is to actually reduce the gap, which is to allow citizens to become investors instead of just wage earners and deposit savers.
Okay, Daniel, great comments as always. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.